This is the F&O Show. I am Agam Vakil, and in this show we take you through all that is happening in the futures and options space in Indian equities. At the moment, we are seeing some amount of, flashish movement when it comes to the benchmarks. Not too much to speak for when it comes to something like a Nifty or, for that matter, the Sensex. We haven't seen too much, action as far as your underlying is concerned. Sure, we have seen an advance of around a little over 0.25%, but overall, it's been a quiet day of trade. It is something that we were expecting, though the Nifty has now advanced well over the mark of 21,400. The question is that can we expect a little more strength? Do remember that we are not expecting volumes to be substantially higher through the course of the balance 4 trading days of this calendar year. That said, for now, of course, the traction is a little more on the broader market. So let's pull up the broader market indices as well, and let's take a look at where there is in fact a little bit more gains coming. So the mid cap 100 is up around 0.7 percentage points, and as far as the small cap index is concerned, well, it's a little more mixed, so just higher by around 0.25%. In terms of the constituents too, when it comes to the Nifty, we don't have too much to speak for. Of course, we will have some of your relatively larger weights, like something like Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank, along with L&T, perhaps provide a little bit of support in today's day of trade, but it is in fact Infosys and TCS which weigh down on the indices. Don't forget that as we move into the next few weeks, we will also have something like an Infosys and TCS in focus considering earnings. That's as far as your cash markets are concerned. Coming down to your futures and options space, let's pull up what's happening with the Nifty future. So we do have about a 2.5% increase in OI towards longs potentially, considering we have the Nifty currently trading higher. As far as the Bank Nifty is concerned, once again, we are keeping an eye on your open interest to change. So let's pull up the Bank Nifty as well and take a look at how that one is trading, because up around nearly 7% in open interest increase. But because the Bank Nifty, the Fin Nifty is also going to be in focus, because a lot of constituents of the Bank Nifty are also there in the Fin Nifty. So, and of course, this is the Fin Nifty options expiry. We're going to talk about that in just a bit, but let's take a look at what the options universe is panning out and how that is in fact coming through. So we are looking at a little more writing around the 21,300, 21,400 puts. And of course, on the higher end, we continue to see a little more traction around 21,800 calls. That's where we are looking at a little more writing. But as far as your range for the week is concerned, 500-point range between 21,000 on the lower end, where the puts have max OI, and of course on the higher end, it is a 21,500 call which has max OI. So that's a rough range we are working with. Of course, a lot could change. But for now, in terms of the numbers, that's something that we're keeping an eye on. If we can, in fact, pull up the open interest distribution for the Fin Nifty as well and take a look at where there is, in fact, a lot more traction. So there you have it. A lot more calls written at the moment, it seems, as compared to puts. And, at the moment, of course, we're looking at 21,200 looking to be defended by when it comes to some of your traders in today's market. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that one. But from there on, we move on to Suraj Estate Developers, which makes its debut today. It's been a quiet one. We are looking at a listing or at a discount. We spoke to Rahul Thomas, the director at Suraj Estates, about the IPO as well as the targets for the company. Listen in.
It's an entirely fresh issuance of shares, so we plan to raise 400 crores, out of which 285 will be for the debt repayment or prepayment. 35 crores is earmarked for acquisition of new land, and the balance would be obviously a GCP portion.
Right. So when you say acquisition of new land, that means that you're obviously planning to launch a few projects, because I assume that you technically take the third party to construct the sites, if I'm not wrong. So when we talk about new launches, do you have any sort of targets in mind, or do you have any sorts of period that you're planning to have these many launches at these many areas, and specifically which geographical area, if you could help us understand that?
We have about 3 land parcels on Mount Perry. So I think that would be the next market we'll be targeting. So Bandra would be the market we'll be targeting next. And we have a commercial development on Tulsi Pipe Road. So it's about 1 lakh square feet of carpet. Okay. So that would be the launches which you will be targeting. 1 in commercial and of course about 3 in residential.
As far as FY24 is concerned, any sort of guidances or pre-sales or collections that you mostly give out at the start of the year, like other real estate companies, to have an idea as to how the business is performing?
So I can just give you what we did last year. So we did 635 crores of pre-sales last year. I can only say that we are very confident on getting our numbers this year as well. So we are going, of course, we have only 3 months left, and I think we'll be meeting our targets, definitely, what we set up for this year.
Okay, and on that note, let's get in our experts for today. We have Brijesh L. He's of the retail research at IDBI Capital, and we also have Ajit Mishra, who is the senior vice president of research at Religare Broking. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you so much for joining in. Ajit, I'll start with you. Your view on the benchmarks at the moment. How are you trading them?
Good morning, Agam. So, Agam, the last week was a week of consolidation, but earlier, in the prior instances, we were seeing more of like a time-wise consolidation with hardly any major price reaction. But last week was the exception that we saw a sharp decline in the middle, followed by marginal recovery, and today we are seeing the follow-up the move as well. So the tone looks positive. There is no doubt about that the overall trend is positive. But yes, at the higher level, as you've also shared, that around 21,500, we still have a decent open interest on the call side. Plus, the kind of momentum that we were seeing in the index majors that has slightly subsided a bit in the recent days. So we feel that closer to around 21,500, 600 zone, will continue to see some buying, profit taking coming in. At the same time, downside, we feel it's capped close to around 21,200, 21,000 zone is the area where one can continue to look for accumulation. So for the index at the current level, it's a no trade zone. One should wait for any dip around 21,200 mark to look for fresh longs. And on the higher side, around 21,500 plus zone, one should look for booking profits. Banking, it was showing sign of resilience till Thursday, but on Friday, the close were not very decisive. So I feel for the banking also that this range will continue, 47,500 on the downside and 48,000, 48,200 on the higher side.
Okay, that's your view coming in as far as the benchmarks are concerned. Let's get in Brijesh into the conversation. Brijesh, good morning. How are you trading these indices?
Yeah, morning. So as you said earlier, the range for the Nifty would be somewhere 21,000 and 21,500 because these are the both ends where we can see the call and put writing. So definitely 21,500 is the immediate resistance. There is a lot of call writing, but what we can see during the first 1 hour of the trade that slowly these call writings are getting unwinded and these levels are slowly getting shifted to the 21,800. So maybe there is a chance if we see a close about 21,500, I think another 200 odd points move can be there on the higher side. I believe this all-time high level which we saw the last week close to 21,593 maybe retested or maybe those levels somewhere close to those levels. I think index can approach, even though on this is a truncated week and we have an expiry on Thursday. Buyers would be a range bound, but definitely buy on decline would be the strategy for the Nifty. The same way, if you look at the Bank Nifty, definitely 48,000 is a level where a lot of call writers are there. Right now, even in today at 47,800, there is some amount of pressure is there. I have a sense that if you look at the stock specific in the banking spec, Axis Bank, Kotak Bank is showing some amount of strength. So by any chance 47,800 is taken out, then I think there's a probability we'll go back to 48,000. And maybe in the next 1 or 2 days, if 48 is taken out, then definitely we'll be seeing a good short covering in the Bank Nifty.
Okay, so keeping an eye on positive cues, that's as Brijesh's view as far as your broader markets go, of course, at least as far as the benchmarks are concerned. And at the moment, we are looking at those kind of gains. Of course, for the Nifty, we are now clearly above the mark of 21,400 odd levels. And for all you know, we could potentially be making a beeline for 21,500 in today's day of trade itself, considering the Nifty is trading at life highs. But on that note, we slip into a short break, but don't go anywhere. On the other side, we talk about stocks and a lot more. Stay tuned in. Welcome back. Motisons Jewelers listed today at a 98% premium. My colleague Sajid Mangat spoke to Laksh Chhabra. He's a joint managing director at Motisons Jewelers about the company's overall outlook as well as the growth outlook. Before we go across to that conversation, so I want to quickly point out as to where it is currently trading at. It is trading exactly around the levels at which it opened at. Currently at about 103 rupees per share and currently at 88% premium to its issue price. So a substantial up move out there as far as Motisons Jewelers is concerned. We continue to keep an eye on that one. I reckon that considering the kind of volumes that we are seeing, there's no letting up, at least at the moment. But let's go across to that conversation my colleague has had with the joint MG. Listen in.
Our quarterly first result was very good, like compared to last year, as you can see, and as seeing the growth trend change in the market, like demand is also changing, more festivals also coming, so we can see a demand change, and we think that we can have a good growth in that.
How was the first half of the year, September quarter?
Yeah, it has been good compared to last year. We did the percentage of revenue has increased, and as you can see, the PAT has also increased. The PAT margin is also like it is around 6.5%.
Give me a sense of your growth strategy going forward, because you raised roughly 149 odd crores, which was used for bank repayment of borrowings and working capital requirement. How are you going to grow from here on?
So as said, we're going to use the capital as a number set, to be precise. 71 crores will be used for our working capital, and we'll introduce more modern jewelry. We'll introduce different type of jewelries in our portfolio. As stated in DRHP, we have more than 3 lakh plus SKUs in our portfolio, and we are trying to achieve. We are trying to increase that number, and yes, as said, providing more type of jewelries, it can increase our numbers. And for growth perspective, we are planning to grow in different geographical area and in Rajasthan particularly.
Any particular areas you have zeroed in on growth?
Yeah, so we have like 2-3 places in mind. So we're gonna focus more on tier 3 cities, and we're gonna plan. We have 4-5 cities, but I cannot give you any name right now. But yes, everything is planned.
One clarification that we wanted was you pay using 58 crores to repay your borrowings, which is primarily bank and financial institutions. The interest rate there is around, average rate is 8.58% as per your RHP. But you also have promoter loans in your books, which is carrying an interest rate of 11.6%. Why haven't you retired the high cost promoter loan, and why have you opted to pay off the bank loans?
So we're gonna repay our commercial bank loan, and I said the promoter has already given a loan from from the starting to the company. So it has been it has been like that in the company, and we are focusing on that too in future. As we do great business, we're gonna reduce that too.
All right. Well, that's the management of Motisons Jewelers. Trying to give us some amount of explanation as to why they are yet to retire the loans which were given out by the promoters, which are at around 11.6%, and whereas the payment has already been done, the repayment of the loans has already been done when it comes to loans taken off from banks. But that's something that is going to evolve over the course of the next couple of quarters. We'll wait and watch out on that one. But we shift focus to stocks, and we'll take our expert stock picks. Brijesh, thanks for waiting by. Your views on a handful of names and handful of ideas that you can suggest to our viewers.
Yeah, so I start with the chemical space. If you see from the morning itself, these stocks like this Tata Chemical, Aarti Industries, Himadri started moving. So I believe Tata Chemical is from the both and F&O space. I think there can be some good amount of momentum in the Tata Chemical. So there is a buy specifically in Tata Chemical, 1052. The stock would be 1029 for the target of 1090. This will be for next 3-4 trading session. I think we need to keep a watch on this. Next, as I said, the Bank Nifty, within that the Axis Bank is one which is now very much close to the support zone. So I think with the stop loss of 1077, we can play for 1140. So this is a bounce back trade, but that is what looks very extremely positive on chart. And lastly, on the safer note, I think ITC is one which is again moving out of the range. At current level, it looks a decent buy with the stop loss of 454 for the target of 465. This is again a trading bet. So Tata Chemical will be a little bit a larger time frame, and Axis and ITC would be a trading bet.
All right, so Axis and ITC as trading bets coming in from Brijesh, besides Tata Chemicals, of course. And Ajit, what about you? What are the ideas that you're suggesting today?
So Agam, last week we saw the change in the pattern of sectoral move because aggressive, the rate sensitives, they were on the front foot earlier. But last week it was the defensives which resumed the rally, and pharma, FMCG alongside with the energy were among the top gainers on the sectoral movement. And we feel that this positivity may continue in the following week as well. Considering that we are consolidating in a range in the index and the underperformance that we had for a couple of weeks in the defensive names might subside. So Glenmark is one name from the pharma basket which at the current levels, the stock has formed a very strong base around the short-term moving averages and steadily inching higher. And first, we have seen a breakout from consolidation range as well. So 895 is what we are eyeing in the short run, and 824 should be the stop for the existing trade and for the fresh position. Similarly, IEX has been consolidating in a range, trading in a broadening formation after a decent corrective phase. But now the recent price action indicates buying interest emerging on every dip. So we feel that the stock has a potential to retest a level close to around 165 to 175 in weeks to come. So definitely one can accumulate IEX around the current levels with stop at 152.
Okay, and from there on, I want to talk a little bit more about today's weekly options expiry, and let's pull up the Fin Nifty open interest distribution again. And if I can actually, take both our experts' view on the Fin Nifty, specifically with the intraday options expiry. So as you can see on your screen, we are looking at a lot of traction in terms of calls. A lot of calls written around 21,400, 450 odd levels. At the moment, of course, the Fin Nifty, the underlying that is, it's currently trading at around 21,260 odd levels. So 21,200 is the level at which we're looking at a lot of bulls trying to defend that mark and making sure that the Fin Nifty does not go below that, at least at the moment. However, in the last half an hour, what's also changed is that we are starting to see a lot more writing around 21,300 calls, which also means that there potentially could be a little bit of resistance on an intraday basis around the 21,300 mark. The question is this going to be a range-bound day? Do remember that there has been ever so slight up move when it comes to the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, and on account of that, there's been an ever so slight up move in the Nifty Finance Index as well. Where can we expect the expiry to come through? Ajit, if I could come to you on this one, what is your reading with respect to premiums at the moment? And if you were to put a trade today at the moment over the next 10 minutes, what would you do with the Fin Nifty?
Agam, I would prefer taking a long bet, considering that the broader range 21,200 to 21,350 is what I've been eyeing. Though there's a marginal hurdle around 21,300 mark also, as we can see in the OI. But the potential cause the kind of rebound that we are seeing in the banking index plus the Nifty index. So we feel that the potential of recovery towards 21,350 is high. So one can look for long bet with 21,200 as a stop.
Okay, well, there you have it. That's the Fin Nifty view. Brijesh, if I could very quickly take your view on the Fin Nifty as well on an intraday basis.
So right now, what I can see, 21,300, it's a lot of call writing. So definitely that is a resistance zone. My bet would be like in the second half, in the at the closing point, if this call writing is, if we can sense that there is some unwinding, then I would take the 21,300 call option in the money on the long side and play for that quick move. But then I would be waiting for the second half of the session. But right now, it looks like 21,300 is likely to go act as a resistance.
Okay, well, there you have it. That's the view coming in on Fin Nifty on an intraday basis. And on that note, I'm going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Brijesh as well as Ajit, for joining us and taking us through their views on the markets. And from there on, we move on to yet another primary market participant. And before we wrap up, we talk about Muthoot Microfinance, which also listed at a discount, and that was at about 5% to its issue price. And here's what Sadaf Saeed, the CEO of the company, had to say. Listen in.
Well, it's a proud moment for all of us to be listed on stock exchange today. And Muthoot Microfin, 13 years ago when we started, Mr. Thomas Muthoot and myself had the vision to build an institution which creates impact at the bottom of the pyramid. Today with 3.2 million customers, 10,800 crores of asset under management, 1,340 branches spread across 18 states and 329 districts, 12,200 employee, we feel that we have created an institution which is sizable and creating its own respect in the market. I think the growth is immense, the potential is immense. As we all know, there are around 17 crore rural households which are potentially microfinance customers. Today the industry caters to around 7.5 crore households, so that much more potential. The institution that we have built in is focused on growth from the beginning itself. In the past 3 years, we have registered a 36% CAGR growth rate, and our model is to focus on customer acquisition. In the last financial year, we have put around 260 branches across various territories. This year also, we have put around 160 branches. We will continue to put more branches across, and our reach has increased to 7.5 lakh customers last year. This year already we have added around 4 lakh customers, taking our count to around 3.2 million. So we believe that with the fundamentals that we have put in place, with the branch infrastructure, with the IT system, with the customer app that we have built, we can continue to serve our clients. And with the industry growing at a 25 to 30% growth rate, we can also continue to grow. I think there are a lot of opportunity at the bottom of the pyramid, along with the responsibility towards our customers, all our stakeholders, our shareholders. We ensure that the highest standard of governance we continue to follow and ensure that there is growth in the business and there is sustainable business model that we have built in.